My name is John Kelsey, and I am a computer and electrical engineer with CHRONOTRACK, and we developed the technology for tracking the runners that we're using in the Wings for Life race this coming Sunday. So we use, for the runners, we use an RFID technology that was originally developed about 10 years ago for tracking boxes through warehouses. Originally, it was a low-cost, very simple method for tracking boxes through warehouses, and we came up with the idea of applying the technology and adapting the technology to use for tracking runners in races. And the concept is very simple. You just need to know a start time and a finish time, and then be able to identify runners. And then you take a finish time minus the start time, if that's how long it took to run a race. And what we use is we use a modified RFID tag. And the RFID tag is a passive device. There's no battery on the chip at all. What it does is it collects radiated energy. It collects energy like Wi-Fi energy. It collects the same frequencies that a lot of cell phones use. In Europe, it's 960 megahertz. In the US, it goes to 928 megahertz. So it collects energy in that range. And what it does is it powers a little chip, just hardly as big as a grain of sand, right in the middle. And it collects that energy, and then what it does is it modifies the incoming signal, just slightly modifies it, reflects it back, and sends a 96-bit identification code. So what our technology does is we have antennas on the side of the road or antennas on the ground that you run over, and it radiates a little energy, activates the chip, and the chip will respond with its identification. And we take that identification and we match it up to a runner's bib number that'll be on the front of their bib, and we record the time and the location that the information was collected. So when you start the race, we'll know that you were at the starting line at this time and your bib number, and then when you get to the finish line, we'll collect that you were at the finish line at that time. And you know, it's really easy for small races, but when you get to very large races, it gets very challenging to collect all that information. And you know, for the New York Marathon, we had over 50,000 athletes, and it takes over half an hour for all the athletes to get across the start line when you have 50,000 runners. So we're able to take the technology, and from when the gun goes off, that person at the very back may take 30 minutes to cross the start line. We know when they cross the start line and when they cross the finish line, so we give them their own start time.
Okay. What about the materials? Are they eco-friendly? Are they environmentally acceptable?
Yes. The tags are designed to work around the world. So with the hazardous materials requirements for the European Union, with Asian requirements, with US requirements, all the materials are ecologically friendly. There's just a very, very tiny amount of material in the tags themselves. And honestly, what we find is that most people don't throw their bibs away, but they keep them, and it's a memento of the race that they run. So a lot of people, once they run Wings for Life, won't throw it away, they'll keep it. Maybe they'll put it on a wall, or they'll save it to remember that they ran the first Wings for Life race.
Okay, what are the challenges?
One of the big challenges with the technology is because of the frequency, the 960 to 928, that is a frequency that the body tends to absorb the energy. In free space, it's not a problem, but when you put it on your chest, the human body tends to absorb the signal, so there's not enough energy to power the chip. So what we had to do is we had to come up with special technology to isolate the tag from the interference of the body, from the absorption of the power from the body. And we were able to do that, so that makes wearing it on your chest possible. But really one of the biggest obstacles we have with the Wings for Life race is the communications and getting the data from the catcher cars up to the internet and then back down to race control.
Okay.
So,
how about in-body implants? Are these RFID safe for the medical devices that some of the runners may be inside of them?
Yes, the technology is absolutely safe for pacemakers and other implanted electronic devices. They use such a tiny amount of power that there's no interference at all. that they're perfectly safe to wear with pacemakers or anything else.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you for your explanations, and that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you.